Biffle found their form, they might win by 50 in the next two maps. That's my hot take. I think they look fantastic, and they're constantly, consistently finding a ton of eliminations, which you don't oftentimes see within their playstyle.
I'm gonna back a European team for a change. I'm gonna try and go with this squad that's on your screen right now. This is Vision, Wars, Oki. You know, we saw the kind of things that Vision did in the World Series, the kind of things that Wars was putting up. And Oki is a young man that has had a real hell of a reputation for some time now. Didn't necessarily pull off when it was playing with FIFA killing last year's World Series. Sobs in today for Jammer and is putting up serious figures. So this is the squad that I'm backing to make a real noise throughout these last two maps.
Hey, I don't think it's a bad, spot to call them out either, especially after a 38-point victory, potentially carrying forward that momentum. They can drop another banger. They're well inside the top three. I mean, they're just outside of it right now, right? They made a huge jump up into fourth place, a massive boon for them, and doing it with a sub. Albeit that sub is Oki, which if you don't know Oki, maybe you're, only watch North American streamers or something. I don't know. Oki's been around the block for a long time. Very, very strong, in particular, customs performer. A little bit of a rocky start from tournament perspectives between several different teams here, there, or otherwise. Wasn't able to make it through day 2 qualifiers, albeit they were quite a bit more tough than the other ones. But, is here finally and is making big waves with this trio. And I think kind of behind the likes of Wars, I like this shout, and I like that team.
Yeah, a team that I'm hoping will bring it in for Europe. But another squad that's in the conversation. This is your team currently sat in second. Super Evan, Braxton, and DJ Mars. And a squad that, although we've been talking about them consistently placing well, I feel like somehow they've kind of just slid under the radar and just been going about their thing. No massive pop-off maps that we've seen, but like solid performances just across the board. Almost the opposite to a lot of the stuff we saw in qualifiers where big maps reigned the day, and even for some of our sides that are up in the fighting end of things when it comes to Swisham and Wars. But as a trio, I don't think anyone's surprised to see them talking money. And speaking of which, second place, if these guys bring it home, cool $27,000. It's not a bad way to spend your afternoon.
That's exactly right. It's funny. I was taking a look at some of the score lines here. Super Evan's team, like you said, 67 points right now, second place. They scored 79 points during the week 1 qualifiers, getting 9th place overall. So on pace to better that by a decent amount. But that's also the nature of the game with the tournament that you have here. This tournament, this day of the tournament, is much more difficult than that first week of competition in particular, right? 79 points for 9th place. It was this large stretch of point totals near the top, with Team Rated winning with 141. We have 2 maps to go, and our top team is just barely over. Well, I guess Biffle's team's now over 80, but second place 67. It's crazy to see kind of the differences in competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw that on the second day when it came to the reduced points total there. By the way, this squad in big trouble. Flank's just getting pushed. The thermo will go out. It will sort of connect, but it doesn't do anywhere near enough. That will be on Civil Queen's squad coming on through. They started off pretty hot this afternoon, but are currently down in 19th. Could do with a massive map to get back into the conversation. Ahsoka, Allman, Noobs. No doubt a squad we will be watching all year long. They currently sit in 7th. Sounds pretty bad, but on 56 points, they're only 11 behind Super Evan in 2nd. So definitely a squad that can get themselves up and talking money situations. And well, if we do get a quick flash up on the map there, it looks like, and this is something that was brought up by Tiff towards the back end of the last one, Goj, we might get a different zone to City, which will be nice to watch out.
Yeah, I like this. I'd love to see a zone that kind of pulls out wide out into the open. We talked a little bit outside of Old Town or what have you. If you've got an end zone that is kind of favoring this more open position with less cover, what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of your action, a lot of your in-game encounters between 2, 3, 4 different squads happen actually in the mid-game, because everybody's trying to get the little 1 or 2 spots of cover in the end-game, right? So instead of maybe 20 teams going into the 6 or 7 circle, you might have like 12 or 13, as you've seen several different team fights already happen, which is a lot of fun to kind of watch that and spread out some of the action. But in the moments here where you get to see kind of the strategy, Noobs, of course, able to grab a UAV and spin the UAV at the same time and still have one in pocket. So a nice boon here early to get a bit of information on that mini map. So they're going to be using that to their advantages as they set up for whatever is next. We'll continue to swap around. You know what? Here's another note, Enigma. I was taking a look at some leaderboards here. I think the only team that has won multiple maps in the same day was Exact in week 2. You and I had a chance to cast over their gameplay. Everything else has been new winners every single time. Now, of course, Wars won a map in week 2 and has won a map now in week 3. But the big question is, in these final 2 maps, will we see a repeat winner from today?
Oh, that's actually an interesting question, because looking back through who we had already, Savvy Ultras in map 1, well, map 2 and 3 and 4 would suggest that absolutely not, because they're having a horrible afternoon other than that map. OP Marked and Co, perhaps, their strategy, we spoke about it before, there's high risk teams, low risk teams, they're relatively low risk, right? So maybe we see them in an end zone.
Yeah.
And then Swish'em and Wars. Swish'em was starting to see the later parts of lobbies consistently. Wars and Co, yeah, I mean... You do look up and down this leaderboard, and even the teams that are fighting at the top, right? We haven't seen a map win out of Biffle and Co yet. We haven't seen a map win out of Breadman and Co yet. Wouldn't surprise me to see them in the fight. And speaking of
it's a bit too late, and is not going to risk that self-revive because he might be marked, giving away his opponent's position if they do win their gulag. A smart play from Biffle. Head straight to the gulag. They trust themselves to win their ones, as you see it on
forward, judges it perfectly, deletes Biffle. In the background, by the way, it looked like Brawlik took down one of the other players on that squad. So trouble potentially for our tournament leaders so far. Move on over to Rated, Octorize, and Mayapo, a team that are currently sat in 9th. But again, the gap between 2nd and 9th is minimal. Another huge map out of them would push them up into the higher points of money. And we're just getting word through in the background, by the way, Goj, Breadman's team, who are currently sat in 6th, fully eliminated.
Yeah, a window of opportunity open for somebody. And speaking of a window, Rated took the whole window off the building. 5 eliminations already as we're closing our second circle. The guy is cooking. Now, they're down Autorize, but they should be able to get a buyback here if they can continue to clean out this kind of port area. They do have a buy station right next to them. Plenty of cash to work with. Just doesn't want to get picked off for free. Goes ahead and throws some health towards the map. Says, here, take that. Get your damage stats up. Does get the buyback, though. So all 3 up. Should be able to stabilize here. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, albeit it does look like Mayapo is being hunted by a bounty.
But for now, plenty of distance. The UAV there on the deck. I'm not sure if Rated just... Oh, no, never mind. Teammates picked it up. They've calmed that between them. Soka goes down. We just watched a huge gunfire out of Soka to take out some of the shifty trio. I believe it was Sage that he took down. But we move on over. Almond and Noobs now in a spot of bother. Noobs will clean up Brawlik. And a couple of huge gunfights. And we've seen a couple of times throughout this tournament goes. This is an area that we're seeing a lot of big name teams kind of rotate on through when it comes to these zones that are pushing more towards city and suburb side. So definitely a tough spot to be in, because even if you survive this fight, you never know which trio are waiting just around the corner. There is a buy station just over the road, so you have opportunity. And Ahsoka will lose his gulag. Brawlik comes out on top. Unlikely to come straight back down on the duo that remain. Plenty of money in the pocket. They should just be able to bring Ahsoka back into this.
Man, it's such a fun note that I can't harp on for too long, but what I will say is I love when 2 teams fight each other, they both trade out kills, and then both those players meet each other in the gulag and they have a chance to run it back. But that is 2-0 for the side of Brawlik, who wiped Ahsoka and then beat him in the gulag after he got some revenge. We'll continue to swing over, but if you can wipe a team, wipe a player, grab their loot, usually they'll have some decent loot on them if they already have loadouts, specifically comms vest. We saw that there from Rated Squad. He's able to get... I believe it was Autorize back onto the map, quickly grab a comms vest and a loadout weapons. That's how you stabilize quickly. Oki's team looking to destabilize, a couple teams flying in and don't get the chance to do so. And talk about unstable. Rational last alive, both teammates into the gulag. Luckily, teammates seemingly winning their gulags. Now, it's funny because I feel like on broadcast today here, Enigma, we've seen a lot of people win gulags and not a lot of losses on main. But I was getting word, even Zlaner's team, I don't know if they've won a gulag today. I think they were 0-4 to start the day in gulags.
Honestly, I was expecting this trio to kind of come in with some heat, right? They finished 2nd in day 1 and really looked good. Destroy Zlaner, bring in Raul. The vibe seemed high. They were all putting up solid numbers in terms of kills. They had 2 seconds and a 5th. They looked really good in qualifiers. But goddamn, is today not their day? They sit all the way down in 23rd, so it wouldn't even surprise me if that statistic about gulags is indeed true.
Yeah, this is a nice little push here from the side of Noobs. They've got the big game bounty on Irrational. It doesn't seem like it's all that close. Instead, they're using their UAVs to their advantage. Consistently pumping out UAVs is kind of the classic tactic of Noobs and Almond in particular. And of course, with the shifts around rosters and having Tommy subbed out, swapping teams, and having Ahsoka moving into this trio is a fun one. This trio could be one of the deadliest trios to grace the game. they can continue to get their acts together. They've kind of been up and down as per the usual, but dropping some very sizable maps is keeping them in contention for the top 5, kind of disregarding some of those low point averages that they're getting from a couple of the maps. Here they go, live pings galore. They've kind of sent out Allman as the dog, hunting down his opponents up ahead, and they're going to follow up in kind. The problem is they've lost sight of him, so they can't help until they get closer, and a Noobs hits a tree.
Oh, dear.
Should be able to get there in time, though, to work together.
Yeah, that was worrying for just a second, right? There was a window there where if Allman was in trouble, no one was there to back him on up, but the reinforcements will arrive. I believe that's Tapper going down in the back. Yes, it is. So continuing to hunt down a squad that these three will not be scared of any squad, but will feel comfortable hunting down. But actually, Noobs takes a couple of bullets. Will have to deploy smoke for cover. Plates will go in. Buy station nearby so they can pick up more UAVs if they wish. As you said, they like to just continually chain those. Have one up right now, but plenty of money in the pocket for more. And actually, comms come out. Allman's got trouble behind him. Noobs having to play again.
Yeah, I'm getting word, by the way, that my prediction at least was somewhat correct. Zlaner's team did get full wiped in this lobby in last place, 30th place with 0 eliminations. So unless some act of God happens in the final map, they're going to be walking away with just a handful of cash apiece. Team Noobs, aggressive comms back and forth, and I don't want to do a listen in yet because I believe we're going to kind of swap off their POV here on the edge of this zone. They are technically safe. They have a team, I think, ahead of them and a team out of the right, but we're going to be looking for good listen-in spots so you guys can hear some comms here from the main broadcast. And, of course, you can always check out all of their individual perspectives of your favorite streamers.
I got it.
Absolutely. And there is that UAV. And this team do love to just continue to play off the back of that information and rotate. I will say, Noobs currently not running a comms vest. Almond and Soka may potentially, but as they just continue to look for opportunities to rotate in, it looks like there is a squad just off to the right. So let's listen in as they take this fight and how they approach it. Looks like multiple teams.
Pre-clustered.
Boy, that kid in front of me! Boy, the kid in front of me! I know. Just keep running.
I am. He's still running.
He's trying to run. I know he's trying to run.
He's already in smoke. Be careful. Don't get knocked from the kids across.
Yeah. Pop the U. You gotta pop the U.
Yeah, here. I will.
His teammates are gonna be on the roof looking. Careful.
Hug him. Don't die, his teammates. Got PA'd.
I got PA'd, man.
Back up.
What's up with you? I can just probably reload.
I didn't get my full bend.
He's 1E.
Nice, I got it. I care. We can still loop back
We
from
gotta
him.
be careful of our ulti. We gotta be careful of our old town ulti. I was good. They're still trying to look for me. I'm good.
Good to win, brother.
Squad mate has been cleared for redeployment.
What are kids behind us? Do we?
Well, it looked like they might find an opportunity to hunt down on some opposing teams, Goj, but in the end, you end up losing Noobs momentarily. He is brought back in, but for Soka, Almond, and Noobs, are perhaps a dangerous push that almost cost them a little bit there.
Now around to a different buy station, get Noobs back, and be able to make a play. So here is Noobs back into the action, all three alive, and they've rotated around the water into the next zone. They're not out of the woods yet still. Again, still inside the forest trying to loop around because there's so many structures up ahead that you can see at least one player with the most wanted up ahead of them on a rooftop, but likely 3, 4, 5, 7 different players up ahead that have rotated earlier than this trio.
Yeah, and you heard the comms come in there. They were spotted rotating on in by whoever was on top. And speaking of another team up on top, Rated has high ground and looking out over, playing the information game and just pinging off where people could be, because Rated is already on 8. And as we start to look towards multipliers, the next kill that comes on through, we start to shift towards that 1.5 times, and Rated just going to ring out nades to try and see if anything's pushing through the smoke. Nothing catches, but more than likely a opposing team just underneath them in the fire station. Autorize and Mayapo will try and sniff out.
And they've got a nice spot on the edge of zone with cover in a gas station. I can only expect to see Team Biffle inside the top 5 at the end of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the teams that will not be catching them is going to be Team Savvy Ultras, as they have been eliminated. But this is a squad that picked up the last map and now have an opportunity to push even further up. But actually, Oki gets caught, perhaps split really awkwardly from Vision and Wars as they try and lock down this building. That will be the Mutex lineup on the other side. We've spoken about the potential difficulties, but they're trying to do something here. Suppression Mine will catch, but it is not enough. We will see our map 4 winners eliminated. Looked like around about 7 kills. It's what, 1.3 times multiplier, something like that. So you get yourself up to around that 10-point mark, but Wars and Co will be disappointed with that one.
Well, speaking of a team that's been disappointed all day today, Pentagon squad in trouble. They were in 20th place or so going into this one, and finally on your screens in front of you, inside the top 15, trying to make it to the top 10, if not top 5. Top 10 gets you your 1.5x, and it only goes up from there. They've got high ground position. They're in the zone. They have all 3 alive. It looks like they have a decent amount of resources. This is their game to potentially do well on, if not win. The question is, can they hold on to their position and maintain that spot inside the top 5 as Super Evan and other teams like it try to flank around the other sides of the zone and push their way in. And unfortunately, as DJ gets picked up here, should be able to get the self-revive.
Should. Indeed, it will come on through, and plenty of plates between them to just be able to set this up. Actually, never mind. I assume DJ Mass had some. It turns out he did not. So resources starting to look a little bit thin here for our team in second place. Again, just to let you guys know that coming into this lobby, they were about 18 points behind Biffle and Co. So a lot of work to do to catch up. And speaking of which, Soka, Almond, Noobs, they rotate through the underground. We've seen them do this a few times throughout this afternoon, Goj. It's also something that Biffle and Co are doing, utilizing these tunnels, these waterways that so many people don't expect.
That is a lot of grenades, though, Enigma, and it's too much to handle. It is too hot down in the water. Face Testy finally showcasing himself on main stage, grabbing some eliminations on some heavy hitters, but another team in trouble. That's Super Evan going down from Team Biffle. This is first versus second. Both teams getting a piece of the other. Will they get a gas mask? Yes, Sage able to get a gas mask and stay alive inside the gas to restabilize, get his plates back in, and then make a play here. He's telling his teammate, die, I have enough money. I'm going to buy you back. Die, die, die. I want you floating. Get us some information and hopefully try to stabilize on some piece of high ground into this next moving zone. Biffle doesn't get it. Sage doesn't get it. Sage goes down from that team down in the sewers. I think that's FaZe Testy. No, Almond's down there apparently cleaning up Testy's team and still alive.
Yeah, and if you're Biffle there, you're just aiming Biffle and Co with 10. So with the 1.5 times multiplier, 15 points coming on through, which is essentially about their lead. And good lord, whoever that is, Sin gets absolutely torn apart by Fuzzin. Pentagon's team finally starting to come on through and heat up in this one. We're down to our final 3.
We said it was their game to win, potentially their game to lose. Pentagon Fuzzin still inside this final fight, but here's Blast, here's Mutex, both alive, comms flying. They're looking for a couple eliminations. It is down to a 2v3, and Mutex is low on resources. Blast goes big, though. Down goes Dongi. It's on Rational's team on the other side. Can they answer back? It doesn't look like it. Mutex in trouble, scumming. Dongi on Rational, your winners, but a fantastic map from Team Mutex with 14 kills and a 1.7x multiplier to boot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been pretty well documented at the minute that these 3 gents are having difficulties at the minute. Very up and down with their performances, but they'll be very, very happy with that one. What's that? Pushing up to around 23 points, something like that. My math might be rough, but a huge map out of Mutex and Co, but even bigger potentially out of Scummin and Co, who come